mushroom number 3 of my Mushroom Mania side quest. So I am excited for this one because it's a bigger mushroom. It's got more going on with it. So I think that'll be really fun to actually I don't know, have some more meat in the pattern, I guess, if that makes sense. So let me start the screen recording and we'll see what pattern number 3 is, which is looking kind of fun. Okay, so this is pattern number 3. So I've done this Ami Little Mushroom by Ami Ami. I did this mini Super Mario mushroom by Sabrina Silva. And now I'm going to do this mushroom by Bippy Buddies, who's a blogger. It was just published May 2025, so it's super new, probably, I guess it could be almost 8 weeks old now because it could be the beginning of May. There are no patterns, no projects, no yarn ideas, but it is in 2 people's queues, so we'll see. It tells me that I need Aran weight yarn. I'm just gonna use whatever I want. It's a mushroom. And that's about it. So let's go to the pattern. The pattern is, let's see. All right, materials. Not a super great start where the materials are yarn, which I'd wager 98% of crochet patterns use yarn. I mean, you can use other things like plastic bags, right? If you're knitting mats or I don't know, but it just says yarn. It doesn't say colors. It doesn't give you rough amounts. I understand with something little that it's hard to do rough amounts, but at least some kind of idea. It would have been, look at the picture, obviously in white and red, it would have been nicer if it said yarn, colors. Maybe amounts. Crochet hook, they used a 4.5. Safety eyes, here comes nitpicky Gabs again. I'd love to know the millimeters on safety eyes. Stuffing, I guess the type of stitch marker, I guess it's really always a locking stitch marker because it's crochet, but my heart wants you to be super specific. I recognize these are free patterns and I'm being incredibly nitpicky on them. And then 4 inches tall, that's great. And then it starts the pattern. So this one's super cute. I think it's interesting. It's got little legs on it. I still think I can finish it probably in an afternoon. I will do, I'm sure if you've seen on the page when I was scrolling, there are larger ones with blankets and sweaters and things. If I feel inspired, I will also make those as well. The yarn that I plan to use, I know I'm very organized. I am trying to step up my YouTube game and have these screen recordings and put graphics on the screen, but it's going medium okay. So let's see what I got. This gray, I'm gonna hold double. It's Uni Merino Lion brand, I think. So I'm gonna hold a double. I bought it last year, no, maybe 2 years ago for an MCAL. It was the AIDS Ride MCAL sock pattern that I did for Gary Knit Scary Rides. That's also still available if you would like it. It is, and all the proceeds from the pattern sales go to the AIDS Life Cycle, so that's exciting. Why can't I remember the name of my own pattern? I don't know. Something about cruising along. I don't know. Post a picture. And then this red is the only red acrylic I have in stock, but this red is the red that I'm going to use from Stylecraft DK for my Persian tiles blanket. If you've been watching this mushroom series, you'll know that I've said Persian tiles blanket every single time, and then I post the same picture right there. I'm still not done with the Persian tiles blanket, but I am done with these colors. So that's my color scheme. I don't have white yarn that I haven't already assigned to another project, and I'm trying to stash down. That's why everything is gray, and it's gonna be gray until I run out of gray. So there may be a situation where I need to finish the project that I've got the white yarn for so that I can use the leftovers in this mushroom side quest. But that's, I don't know what the office or the main quest, I is the main part that's not side quest called? I don't play Dungeons and Dragons, so I'm not sure. But comment below and tell me what that is. And I've got some sewing to do. Then I'm going to go do some crocheting. Mushroom number 3 is finished. I think this is my favorite one so far. My daughter says it looks like a tooth, and it kind of does. But I made the top as well. I tried to follow the pattern as closely as possible. So I did have to change the colors of the spots because I didn't have enough I wanted to do with the spots all in this brown, but then there wasn't enough. So I didn't do that. So let's get into the pattern. I reflected on my reflection about if I was too harsh on my previous review of the pattern. However, it is a review. And I've been delving more into BookTube, which is reviews of books, basically. YouTubers review books and they tell you what they think. Just because you don't like the person's book doesn't mean you think the person's a bad person. So why am I so stressed about reviewing patterns when it is the same concept as reading a book? Same like sometimes I do not finish a book. They're called DNF in the BookTube world. And I'm not like angry at the author or something like that. So I'm gonna still be honest with my reviews because I think that's an okay thing to do. So let's see. Here are my critiques of the pattern. They didn't tell you what color yarn you needed or how much you needed of the yarn. That was my first big one that I was like, could be better. The second one that I didn't love was they didn't tell you where to place the eyes. Fortunately, they had a pretty clear picture, but there was no instructions on where to place the eyes. There was also no instructions on when to stuff your mushroom. It says in the supply list that you need stuffing, but it doesn't actually tell you when to stuff it or how to stuff it. If you're a beginner, right? Like if you're like, this is like your maybe 5th or 6th pattern and you haven't made a bunch of amigurumis, it might be kind of confusing. So what I did was where I placed the eyes, I just eyeballed it. I just kind of looked at what the picture looked like, stuck them in, asked my husband, does this look okay? And he said, yeah, and then jammed the eyes on. So there was no really technique. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's in the 5th row above the little leg joint. It would be like the crotch of the mushroom, but mushrooms don't have crotches. And then it didn't tell you how to whip stitch. It told you to whip stitch, but it didn't tell you how to whip stitch. So I whip stitched mine, and then I did front loop and back loop only. So it kind of there's I think you can see it here, my face is there's like a ridge. That's how I did it. So I started sewing here, sewed it all the way around until I left like a maybe 1 to 2 inch gap, stuffed it, stuffed the whole thing. That's not true, I lied. I stuffed all of the gray body, then attached the red, then whip stitched, then left the gap, then stuffed the top, then stitched it down. And I didn't really weave in my ends, I just buried them in, which I think turned out fine. So with all that, with the lack of finishing instructions, my heart says it's a 3. It's a 3 out of 5. So it's a 3 out of 5 mushrooms. It was fine. It came out. It looks like it. But yes, I wish there was a little more clarity on the finishing. But overall, solid pattern. Looks pretty cute. It does look like a tooth mushroom, but that's okay. But that's what the picture looked like. So you can't take stars off for it looking like what it's supposed to like. But this is as advertised. So on to my next one. My next one is a purse. So that should be good. That should be much better. I mean, better in terms of stash busting. I busted, this is the only fabric. Come on, Gabs, get it together. The only yarn that I used up. I still have more of this stinking yellow and lots of this red and lots of this gray. These are the skeins that never end. It goes on and on, my friend. Terrible.